Hi guys, welcome back. Wow, another hot and sunny, glorious day. So where to start? Well, let's start with last Saturday. Prince William was seen looking rather hot on a genuinely hot day. We saw a couple of soldiers faint under the heat. I always worry about the animals when they do these parades, but it is the rehearsal to Trooping of the Colour, which is this Saturday, June the 17th or 17th of June, if you are in the UK, and I cannot wait. Trooping of the Colour is always a spectacular event. We get to see all of the royals, we get the carriage procession. I don't know where Catherine's going to be this year because Catherine is now the Colonel of the Irish Guards, which means she's actually got a military position. Catherine, I don't think she likes horses. We've never seen her on one. She's never at any of the family get-together at the races. So I can't see Catherine suddenly riding out on horseback, but she might. I have heard rumours that she might come out in some sort of carriage procession with the military, but we will have to wait and see. Again, I'm super excited for this. So the reason Prince William is leading the rehearsal and doing the inspection is because the Welsh Guards, who are one of the 5 regiments, will be the ones trooping this year in front of the King and Queen. Now, Prince William is also making a first, the fact that he is heir to the throne, and he is leading the rehearsals 2 years in a row because last year, as I said, he was the Colonel of the Irish Guards and it was their turn. This year, he is now obviously the Prince of Wales, Colonel of the Welsh Guards, and it's his turn again. I have to say, the royal photographers are all outstanding, but these photographs are just, look at this. I mean, honestly, he looks like a king. He looks absolutely magnificent, as do all of the other soldiers. The level of military parades that we put on in the UK, I cannot praise it enough. Maybe next year I might actually get myself up to at least the rehearsal with the Trooping of the Colour, and I can be there and get some live footage. Although it's often better to watch this stuff on TV because you get to see everything. But as you can tell, I'm super pumped for it, and I will obviously be covering that when I come back to you next week because I will be watching it on Saturday. Now, and some great news to do with Trooping of the Colour. This year, the first year ever, Prince Harry is not going to be there because he and Meghan have reportedly not been invited. Personally, I think this is fantastic news because we would have had the fanfare, the dramatics. Are they coming? They're not coming. They haven't answered the invite. It would seem that the royal family have indeed decided enough is enough. Harry was invited to come to the coronation. He no one understands why he bothered coming for such a short time apart from to have his face obviously in some historical photographs, and then he buggered off being the eco-warrior that he is. It could finally mean that Charles has decided he's sick of his wife, his other son, his daughter-in-law, the monarchy, the institution, his mother's legacy being attacked by the selfish duo. It may even be that several family members that are less senior have interjected and turned around and said, this is not okay, we do not want them there, because Harry and Meghan used their children, if you remember, to make sure that they stood by the window. They deliberately mucked around and posed for the children so the photographers got shots of them. I can't imagine that this made Zara and Peter Phillips particularly happy. Meghan has never really before cared about bonding with any of the royal children, so it was completely unnatural, and I think most people could gather why Meghan was suddenly being fun Auntie Meghan. It was because she knew that she was going to have her face in the newspapers. Yes, I am that cynical because I have been watching this unfold for the last 5 years. Now, I don't think it's particularly spiteful or vengeful for Harry if he has not been invited because, let's be honest, what has he done other than attack his family? He's attacked absolutely everything to do with the monarchy. He has attacked his grandmother's legacy. He's potentially endangered relationships within the Commonwealth because of their false allegations of racism. On the Oprah interview, which they kept stum about for 2.5 years and then backpedaled it. Well, Harry did. At the end of the day, their whole racism spill all boils down to one question that was asked by a family member before they were married at one point. I wonder what your babies might look like. Wow. And in another serious thing that Harry has done more recently in the court case, he attacked the UK government. This is something that members of the royal family cannot do. They are meant to remain neutral. And I know some people say, well, you say 1 minute that he's left the royal family. He is still the son of the current monarch. This is quite big. So Charles, at the end of the day, he has to start cracking down on Harry. They've been evicted from Frogmore. Rumours are saying that Harry did not stay at Frogmore like previously reported the night that he came over, the 2 nights that he stayed. He apparently was staying at Soho House, and that could also explain why Harry didn't turn up to court when he was meant to on that first day. Nothing to do with Lilibet's birthday and everything to do with a steaming hangover. Again, this is something, it's a rumour, but it's totally believable. Harry, no matter which way you look at it, has become a national embarrassment. When people aren't getting angered by his behaviour, he is a worldwide laughingstock. And that's not the sort of person that Charles needs hanging around on yet another momentous and special day. It ruins it partly for the public because lots of people don't want to see him. It would make it stressful for the rest of his family, and Charles has to prioritise the rest of his family that are actually loyal to him and the crown. So let's move on from talking about him and talk about a wonderful royal event that happened, and that was the Queen's Reading Room Festival held at the beautiful Hampton Court. Look at these photographs, all of these wildflowers. That's enough alone to make me want to go visit Hampton Court again. I went there with the school. It's one of those school trips in the UK that they generally make you do. But the Queen's Reading Room Festival, you actually get to go around inside the rooms in Hampton Court. There are different themed rooms all to do with books, and it just sounded like it was a magical event. It was packed to the rafters. It was incredibly successful. You had huge reading advocates and acting alumni. You had Dame Judi Dench, Dame Joanna Lumley, Giles Brandreth, Richard E. Grant. I mean, these are all epic people in the acting world, and they were there doing readings, talking about their favourite books. They did impromptu acting sessions, and I just think it looked absolutely fantastic. It might be so fantastic, I think I might try and get tickets next year. Now, how this festival all came about, which is now definitely going to be Camilla's legacy, where she encourages adults and children to continue their love affair with reading. She started it up in lockdown on Instagram, and it just grew so successful that it then became a regular at the Queen's Reading Room. Well, it wasn't the Queen's Reading Room then, but it is now, and now this annual festival that's going to be held. Queen Camilla was late. She got stuck in traffic and she was late to her own events, but Charles luckily was there, and he was there to entertain the people at the reception held inside Hampton Court. Charles could never look more prouder. I think these two, there's something very romantic about them. He absolutely adores her and she him, and I just think it was incredibly successful. And anyone that encourages children to continue their love affair with books, as you can see, we are massive bookworms in this house. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and long may it continue. Now, in some good news for the UK, but not so much good news for the US, the fight to get Harry's visa application released has hit a stumbling block. As in, US officials have said, we're not sharing that information. It's not in the public's interest. Au contraire, I believe that it is very much in the public's interest, especially if you are a US taxpayer. There are so many people that get kicked out of working in America. They've worked there and lived there and paid taxes for years, but due to visa complications and visa rules, that they've had to leave. People have got married and had children. They've had to pack up their only home that they know because they have to follow US immigration rules. If they may not have done a misdemeanor or done anything wrong, it could be that the job they were in expired, they couldn't renew their green card. There's lots of reasons why people are forced to leave America. Harry quite clearly has breached a very simple rule where it is to do with he has a previous history with having issues with drugs. Anyone else applying for a US visa would get denied at the first hurdle, even if you admit it, even if you're honest about it. Harry seems to have got a free pass. Either that or he lied. Either way, if he lied and they now know through his own words that it's true, then he should be booted out. People are very angry about this. Like I said, so many people have their lives completely destroyed and disrupted because they get kicked out of America for doing nothing and they've actually paid tax. But then there seems to be this whole two-tier system. We're not stupid. We know this two-tier system exists. It is not fair. And the fact that they are covering it up because someone has done something wrong. They are hiding it. So for US officials to say it's not in the public's interest, I'm going to poo-poo that and say it is very much in the US public's interest to find out why they get treated one way and rich celebrities get treated another. So moving on to my next big story, and that is Harry is yet again using US veterans for some positive PR. Now, no one can deny that Harry has completely had his arse handed to him in recent months, with the humiliation of the New York car chase stunt, which I hope South Park cover. I really, really do. But the things that he's revealed in his court cases, the accusations that he's made, the things that he's disclosed. But Harry is very good at doing one thing, and that is he whacks out the Diana card. His racism card has now expired, but he also whacks out the veterans card. I shouldn't say whacks out because I know that means something else, but you know what I'm saying. He always pulls out one of these three cards, and the veterans has been pulled because Harry has had a serious lashing when it comes to his public image of late, and it's not going down too well because people see through it. Harry has already upset people in the US military families, veterans, because of when he and Meghan first moved there, they reportedly shut down an LA cemetery full of military graves. They took a fashion photographer. This is all true. I'm saying it's reported that they shut it down from people, which would make sense that nobody else was there because they couldn't have genuine families visiting the graves, getting in the way of their fashion photography shots, where they were there for Remembrance Sunday. It turned people's stomachs and angered many people watching Harry and Meghan pose and walk over the graves of the fallen, and it left a bitter taste in people's mouths. Then we had Harry pop up on a stand-up for Heroes comedy gig that was done. Harry there with his little medals. He's UK veteran, and this was for US military. And the fact that Harry has done nothing but shit all over Queen and country for the last few years, he's not exactly someone that you would want representing the military, talking to the importance of the military families when all he's done is betray his. More recently, we had Harry going to Pearl Harbor. He went there and he had this photograph angered a lot of people on social media because what was he doing? Was he playing at being the US president? It's one thing to go there and to pay respects and learn about it, but this was all about Harry. This was getting shots for Harry to present himself to the US audience. And again, it turned people off of him. When they went to New York, they took a Netflix film crew where Meghan wore an incredibly over-the-top and inappropriate dress, and it was for a Veterans Day gala in New York. Thankfully, due to Meghan's mole re-releasing this, we have got a little bit of footage here to remind you of the very cold welcome that they had. Not only that, at the end there were photographs released of Harry being separated by a very angry veteran who was reported to have told him he's not welcome and to piss off back home. It's clearly obvious that Harry and Meghan have used veterans, and they're continuing to do so, as props. Harry is turning them into a commodity. He is turning them into something that he's making a business out of. Look what he's done to the Invictus Games. The Invictus Games were going to have a charity Super Bowl fundraiser, which was going to be huge. It was going to be filmed by Amazon. They said they pulled the plug due to COVID restrictions, but it was funny how it coincided with Harry and Meghan signing to Netflix, Amazon's rival. So they've denied and said, no, it was all to do with the problems that were happening all around the world due to the pandemic. But at the end of the day, they never picked up that fundraiser again, did they? No, Harry sold the rights to Netflix for his and Meghan's multi-million-pound deal to go to them. I'd be very interested to see, if we can have the information disclosed, how much money Netflix is going to pay to Invictus for the Heart of Invictus documentary, which is still yet to be aired. It is still on their website for a release of 2023, but like I said, other than that, we know nothing, and we are halfway through the year. Rumours are flying around and getting louder that Netflix have indeed dropped it, but the fact it's still on their website, we will just have to wait and see. Now, the Warrior Games are what inspired Edward Lane Fox. And I say this because he is the one that helped create Invictus Games. Yes, everyone could say Harry's the founder, it was Harry's idea. Let's get real. No, it wasn't. Harry might have been involved in it, and he might have I believe he did genuinely care about it in the beginning, but that's when Harry used to have principles and core values and used to care about family. He was a very different person back then. I'm not saying he was a saint, I'm not saying he's always been nice, but I even can't deny that Harry did genuinely care for the military. Edward Lane Fox, a former army captain in the Household Cavalry, he was also Harry's private secretary until, you guessed it, Meghan came along, and then they departed ways in 2018, much like Harry departed leave of his senses and everyone else that cared about him and loved him. But given the fact that his behaviour and everything, like I've just said, that he's doing to the Invictus Games, he's making money off of it now. He got rid of the charity that was meant to support the veterans and their families on a mental health basis and replaced them with his better up mental well-being life coach in Silicon Valley bullshit company. I know, I don't sugarcoat it, do I? It just really bugs me with the Invictus Games, as you can tell, because Meghan turned it into a catwalk show. It was a fashion show. And, you know, you saw Harry change. He used to play and get involved with the games with the actual athletes and their families. As soon as he got with her, he would spend less and less and less time with it. Now the only time we see Harry is if he is mainly doing Netflix. There's video footage of him at the last Invictus Games. People were asking to pose for photographs with him. Harry was too busy and was shunning him away as he was walking with a Netflix crew. That is the Harry that we are left with now, and it's very sad to see. But it also makes you think, was the real Harry ever really truly real? Has he changed this much, or are we now just seeing Harry for who he's always been? So Harry, like I said, has been getting a bit of an ass kicking in the media, and he has now appeared at the US Warrior Games. Not only that, he has got a photographer taking photographs of him. Not the games, not the athletes, not someone in the distance. Oh, Harry's in the crowd, let me get a snapshot of that. No, he's sitting there and he's smirking. And you can tell that the photographer is very close and concentrating purely on Harry. One, because Harry's smirking, no longer scared of their camera clicks or annoyed, because he knows the photographer is there, but so does the gentleman next to him, who looks pretty pissed about it. I'd imagine lots of people there were not happy about being used as a prop to improve Harry's public image. Oh, don't hate on him too much, he really cares about the military. Harry stood in front of the US flag giving speeches about the military as being a family, about how they have renewed his spirit, smiling as he got an applause at the end. Well, I mean, that's pretty laughable. He should be applauding them, not the other way around. And the other thing that really irritates me, and I'm sure it irritates a lot of people, what does the military stand for? The military stands for courage, integrity, respect, loyalty, honour. These are all things that Harry, one by one, has completely betrayed. He has betrayed them. He's not shown any loyalty. He didn't commit to duty. He went to a Lion King premiere to promote his wife for trying to get voiceover work when he should have been at a memorial for Marines in his position as the Captain General of the Royal Marines, a very, very important position for Prince Philip that he handed down to him. Harry, the first non-king and non-spouse of the monarch that was handed it, and what did he do? Within the first 2 years, he's like, no, I'm going to go to a film premiere instead. Toodles! Harry is the worst representation to be talking to the military in any country, in all fairness. That's how I feel about it. But I'm not going to end the video on me ranting about Harry and all the reasons why I think that he should be kicked off the Invictus charity, or why he should be completely shunned at US military events, especially when he's there for self-promotion. And that is, I've got some amazing news to share with you. I know some of you know it, but I know some of you don't. It's some of the best news that I've heard in a long time. And that is, Spotify have officially revealed that they will not be renewing Meghan's contract. There will be no Archetypes Season 2. Worldwide sigh of relief. I know I can hear you all just go, seriously, there is definitely someone up above shining down on us. I have never been more grateful for a piece of news about a corporation not renewing someone's contract. I know, isn't it fantastic? I never like to leave you guys on a sour note. I like to leave you with some happy news, and I think that is pretty happy news, don't you? So guys, I said I am going to try and punch out 3 videos, which this is number 2, so you might be in luck, and I will see you guys tomorrow where we're going to talk about Sophie and William doing joint engagements. Princess Anne has been out and about, and there's bound to be some more news to do with Harry and Meghan. So take care for now. I'll see you in the comments. Bye.